Well, you guys wanted it, so here you go. 9th level acid spell. We are breaking out the big guns. It's time to bring out the pinnacle of D&D magic. It's time for a word of power. Power word melt. With a single word, you basically convince someone's body to change its chemical composition into deadly, bubbling acid. Their bodies fill with noxious acid and gas until they're like a water balloon on the verge of bursting. And when I say you convince someone's body, I don't mean you convince a person to change. No, I mean you convince the matter that makes up a creature to act against the will of its owner. Their interior flesh turns into acid, and then that acid explodes toward another creature. Now you're probably wondering, what is this power word anyway? Well, I would tell you, but forces beyond your control will render that knowledge impossible for you to hear. You don't believe me? Fine, I'll try. The power word for melt is... If you like The Legend of Zelda or any Ghibli movie, then you also might like Obojima Tales from Yatamon. This book is a campaign setting full of fun and charm. The winding streets of Yatamon are full of odd shops, strange spirits, and dangerous demons, all of which you can discover while playing one of the 3 new subclasses this book provides. Anyone who signs up for the Kickstarter within the first 72 hours gets a free mossling miniature. Perhaps you can find one of these guys in your journeys during the Great Slime Hunt, or while fighting the world's deadliest watermelon alongside Knife Cat. Also, there's a lot of art and it's really good. Like, look at this stuff, man. The setting this book provides is so unique and fascinating, and the art just helps facilitate your imagination to run wild in this crazy, crazy place.
Oh no, our stocks are down! What are we going to do, business cat? I told you we shouldn't sell people evil lettuce.
If any of that sounds cool to you, check out the Obojima Tales from Yatamon Kickstarter. The link is in the description, and thank you again to Obojima Tales from Yatamon. This spell melts creatures into piles of red slime. Choose a target within the range of the spell, that's 120 feet, and deal 10d12 plus 40 acid damage, constitution saving throw for half, to that creature. If the creature dies, note the amount of damage that would have been left over after reducing the creature's HP to 0. Then, choose another target in range and deal the remaining damage, constitution saving throw for half, to the target. Repeating this process until a creature survives the spell, all the damage has been dealt, or there are no more creatures within range that you wish to target. Only subtract damage actually applied to a creature. If a creature saves successfully, but still dies, you still only reduce the remaining damage by the number of HP required to slay that creature. So basically, all the extra overkill damage a creature received when they perished goes on to the next creature, and the next, until all the damage is dealt, or there are no enemies left to turn to goo, or a creature survives this melty horribleness. It's very similar to how the sleep spell works. Now, this spell can be great to throw at a boss to deal a lot of damage. However, this spell will be better if you threw it at a lower health enemy. You start a chain reaction, destroying all the smaller baddies in your way until you send the leftover damage at a big guy. Well, why use this spell when I could just cast Meteor Swarm? Because you get rewarded for each creature slain by the spell. The bodies of the creatures destroyed by the spell become oozes under your control. These guys are called red oozes. Red oozes are formed from dark and violent magic. They form from the liquefied remains of fleshy beings who encountered powerful and gruesome magics. Jubelix, the demon prince of all oozes, probably loves this spell. Jubelix is wild. His whole goal is to turn all things in creation into oozes. Like, his goal is to make a planet of slime. It's crazy. I made red oozes specifically for this spell. It's a really simple stat block. It's about as strong as a zombie. It can climb on walls, fit through tight spaces, stick to people that it attacks, burn people that touch it. Typical ooze stuff. One notable trait it has is that if a creature starts its turn in the same square as the red ooze may automatically deal 1d6 acid damage to that creature. And it's tiny, so it can walk, crawl, slime into the space of any medium or larger creature, and it can choose to not harm people with its touch, so you can interact with it and have a slime pet. However, considering where this came from, it's not the most sanitary thing to do. Personally, if I'm controlling multiple summoned creatures, I want them to be super simple. That way I can focus on my spellcaster character and finish my turn quickly and promptly. Especially if I'm sharing my summons with fellow players, it makes it easier for them. Also, I capped the amount of oozes you can control that are created by the spell to 5, just because anything more than that might be too much, but change that if you want, set it to 1, or get rid of the cap. I'm sure Mr. Jubelix would love to have infinite slimes under his control, but I make a habit of not taking advice from demons. Now, some of you might be asking, how can speaking a single word do all of this? Because power words are not simply words. They are names, and names have power. You know how if a fae knows your true name, they can control you? Well, objects and concepts have true names as well. To know something's true name is to understand it at its most pure form. Plato theorized that there is a dimension dedicated to the ideal form of objects and concepts. Our world is full of imperfect copies, all lesser imitations of the perfect copies from this realm of forms. In this realm, there is the ideal man, there is the ideal tree, the ideal justice, and many have peered into this realm. They saw the ideal forms, learned their names, evoked the very concepts of our reality, and bring the perfect form of these concepts before us. The ideal heal, the ideal push, the ideal kill. Power words are not simply words. They are names, and names have power. The true name for melt, this power word, compels the body or vessel of a creature to melt. No acid is thrown onto them, no hydrochloric mixture appears from the ether. You simply speak to the flesh, the bone, the metal, the matter that makes up this creature, and with a single word, to evoke Melt's true name, you sway the opinions of these materials to be something else, to be something they are not, to be something less rigid and something flexible, without shape and yielding, to be a yielding form, so close to as they yield to your utterance, their bodies betray them. The word meets their body like a hammer on a downstroke meets glass. And why oozes? Why does the ideal form of melting make oozes? Because perhaps in that realm of forms, deep in the white void of the ideal, a formless creature with many eyes gazed at what the perfect version of melting was, and perhaps they saw a sphere covered in something miles and miles deep and stretching on past the horizon. Perhaps they saw not just a sphere, but a globe, a planet that did not compromise to any other ideal, upon which a victory in a war of ideology was not just great, but total. Perhaps that faceless lord saw a world where all creation was ooze. By the way, I have a Discord. Go check it out. Link is in the description. Also, check out my Patreon. We have a bunch of cool stuff there. Shoutouts to the patrons: Beefmaster, Jesse Eaton, Nolan46, Panko6, Black-Blooded Beast, Captain Halcyonics, Comet Luna, Cubico, Hayden Tisthammer, Manifestering, Random Guy Variety, Spark Drake, Absentia Lucci, Alex Score, Anymoose, Christopher Cook, Dice Monkey, Terrius, Edboy, Foosro Dog, Iskander711, James Spear, King Storm, Mr. Nobody 13, Mullock, Name a Maori, Neverwraith, NG5, Trevin Zarmas, Pat Hughes, Polymolly01, Poggers Extreme, Seductive Squidward, Spartus Maximus 1, Wet Toaster, Zachaloo, and Xander 3. Thank you guys so much. You are all the best.